Can you please enable screen sharing? Yeah, thank you. So, good evening to everyone present here. I am Dhanvi Shah, a student studying in the UAE. So, it is my great pleasure to be here and presenting about financial technology on this very day. So, in this session, we'll be basically talking about everything that is related to financial technology. So, let's just first have a look what we'll be studying in the session. So first, we'll have a look at what exactly is financial technology. Then we'll learn about a brief history of financial technology, and then we'll go on to fintech trends, fintech principles, and we'll also be answering one of the most important questions, which is how safe is fintech. Then we have different types of fintech landscapes, advantages and disadvantages of fintech. So let's get started with what exactly is fintech. So before we move into the theoretical definition of fintech, I would like to share a video which basically explains about financial technology. So let's just have a look at the video.
Fintech is an abbreviation short for financial technology, and it's a program that's used for sending and receiving funds without handling cash or walking into a bank. If you've ever paid a bill online, donated to a GoFundMe, or traded stocks through Robinhood, you've used Fintech. It's been revolutionary for helping people access money, even when they live in remote areas. It also makes transactions faster and cheaper, so it's simple to send money around the world. There's some challenges when using Fintech though. Since it's mostly online, it's difficult to be sure your personal information is secure. And if you do get scammed or your account gets hacked, it can be harder for the authorities to recover the stolen funds since they're not as easily traceable. If you think the benefits of using Fintech outweigh the risks, consider partnering with a cybersecurity company who can provide you with the most up-to-date and innovative protection measures.
Okay, so this was basically a brief definition on what exactly financial technology is. And maybe a few words might have been complicated, but we'll be learning each and everything about it as we move on. So first, let's just have a look at the theoretical definition of fintech. So financial technology is basically a technology that helps to improve and automate all the types of financial services. Fintech is basically used by companies or business owners or consumers to better manage their entire financial operations, processes, and lives. And in this diagram, we'll be able to see the different types of fintech that includes online banking, direct payment, payment gateway, investment, cryptocurrency, e-banking security, fintech, robo-advisors, and so on. It can also be classified as blockchain, payment, exchange, research, digital money, online banking, investment, and crowdfunding. So these are the various types of fintech, and we'll be talking about each one of them one by one. So before we move on to that, first let us just have a look at the history of fintech, like from how did fintech start and how it's going to end. Actually, fintech is never ending, but let's just have a look. So fintech its basics had started in the 1950s when the introduction of credit cards took place. And this had completely revolutionized the system, how people used to pay for goods and services. Because now at that point, everyone started using credit cards. And even nowadays, everyone uses credit cards, right? So a decade later in the 1960s, the first ATM was introduced, which gave completely like 24/7 access to cash and laying the foundation for the development of digital banking. So this was because people could just go to ATM booths and just get their cashes. So they had complete 24/7 access to their cash. They could just go to any ATM booth and just get their cashes. Next was one in the 1990. So this was a time when online banking was introduced, and the customers, this basically allowed the customers to get access to their accounts and perform transactions online. So now they didn't have to actually go to the bank and perform any transaction. They could basically just do it by clicking a few buttons online right in their home. So it had be something that had been completely time consuming had now been very easy to have access to. A decade later, in 2000, the introduction of mobile payments took place. So, this had enabled users to make payments using their mobile devices, leading to development of mobile banking apps and other digital payment platforms. So, now again, the same thing. They didn't have to go to the bank to perform any transactions or pay anything or withdraw their cash or anything of that sort. They could just easily do that by clicking a few buttons in their mobiles. Next, we have the in 2008. So, financial crisis in the 2000 had led in was took place in 2008, and this had basically increased the scrutiny of traditional financial institutions, and this led to disrupt the industry by offering innovative, customer-centric financial services. So, all the financial platforms, all the financial companies, they had become customer-centric, and it led to a huge amount of innovation and innovative ideas in the financial industry. Next, in 2018, digital wallets were introduced, such as Apple Pay and Google Wallet, which became very popular. Nowadays, even in India, we use Phone Pay, Paytm, and all of those apps. We don't really pay by using any by using cash or anything. It's just by clicking a few buttons in your mobile and the payment is done. So this was basically the history of financial technology. Now we'll be discussing about fintech trends. So basically how fintech has been evolving since the many years. So first is to know about digital banking, which is still continuing to grow. So digital banking, we know basically what digital banking is: to do banking online in your home, in an online device, in a electronic device, is basically what digital banking is. So digital banking has become very easy to be able to access than ever before. Many consumers already manage their money, request and pay loans, purchase insurances, and they perform digital first banks. So all of this is possible in case of digital banking, which consumers are using it for. So the CAGR, which is compound annual growth rate of digital banking, is said to be 11.5%. It is expected to grow at a rate of 11.5% by 2026, which is quite a lot, and we can completely say that fintech is the future of financial industry. Next is the blockchain. So blockchain is basically a technology in which we do not involve a government entity or a third party organization in any kinds of transactions, which basically makes the transaction a decentralized one. So a blockchain technology and application nowadays, it has been growing rapidly, and it has been used in each and every financial technology industry. So blockchain also has many of its divisions, such as network, transaction, cryptocurrency, address, wallet, and many of them. We'll be discussing about that as well. Next is the fintech trend. Next point is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is also very important key when it comes to technology. And before I move on to how AI and ML is used in fintech, we'll be discussing what exactly AI and ML is. AI is basically the theory and development of computer systems to be able to perform tasks that are normally performed by humans, or like human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, or translation between languages, or NLP, which is natural language processing, or anything of that. So these all are subfields of AI. Next is ML. So ML is basically the use and development of computer systems that are able to learn and adapt without following any explicit instructions. It is given a set of algorithms and statistical models, and the machine is told to analyze and draw inferences from the patterns that are provided in the data. So this is what AI and ML is. So AI and ML, since it is used in fintech companies, it has completely revolutionized the entire financial technology, financial industry. AI and ML can reduce operational costs. They can increase the value provided to the clients, and they can even detect fraud. So these technologies are basically used in fintech because they are so affordable. They are they have very less cost. They're very affordable, and they are very accessible. They're accessible to each and every person nowadays. Yeah. So, and it has been completely growing in a very huge growth rate as well, AI and ML in the financial technology field. Next, we'll be talking about fintech principles. Basically, we'll be focusing on the ethical principles. Here, we'll be talking about 5 ethical principles, but there are various other principles to financial technology too. So, first one is the transparency that we'll be talking about. So, transparency is basically a system or a method in which the fintech companies, they provide a clear, easy to understand explanations on how their products work, on how the services they are providing, and all those details, how their algorithms and models work, and all of those details to the consumers. So everything is known to the consumer. There's nothing that is hidden to the consumer. The consumer knows that where his money is going, how his money is being transacted. The consumer knows everything, and because of this, the consumer can trust the fintech company. So that is the reason why fintech companies and digital banks, they really need to be transparent about their operations, and this should also include how they use customer data and how their algorithms and models work, as I said. So that's what basically transparency is. The next point is security and privacy. So in this, it's basically that security and privacy is also very important when it comes to technology, because these details are something which can be accessible to the entire world. So it is very dangerous. And because of that, you really need security and privacy. And that is the reason why the fintech companies, they should prioritize the security and privacy of their customers' data. Their main priority should be the security and privacy of the people, rather than maximizing their own profits. So that is a very important role that the fintech companies also play. So this also includes like strong encryption to protect sensitive information of the customers, to protect the customer data, and regularly testing the systems for any kinds of vulnerabilities or any kinds of viruses, and all of that sort, for like basically protection and security. So the third point is fairness. So fintech companies and digital banks, they should strive to be more fair in their interactions with the customers, and they should avoid any kinds of malpractices such as predatory lending or discriminatory algorithms or hidden fees. So this basically means that the companies should be open to any kinds of feedbacks that the consumers may give them. If the consumer is dissatisfied by the product or services that the companies provide, if the consumer thinks that the service that is provided is not providing proper security, or if any doubts that the consumer might have in their minds related to the efficiency of the product or service, then they should have the right to give these feedbacks to the companies, and the companies should also be willing to make these changes if they also find that the product and service is unfair or harmful to their customers. So this is also very important role that the fintech companies play. That means that they should also strive to be fair. Next is customer centricity. So fintech companies and digital bankings, they need to make sure that they meet the needs of their customers. rather than just maximizing their own profits. As I already said, that the fintech companies, their priority should be the security and the privacy that they provide to the customers rather than maximizing their own profits. So this means they should design products or services that can be accessible, affordable, easy to use, basically user friendly, and provide excellent customer service. Only by doing this, the consumers could be attracted, would actually feel the urge to invest in their fintech companies and use their fintech companies. Okay, so next point is compliance. Compliance basically means how fintech companies and digital banking systems, they should adhere, they should abide by the laws and regulations of each country. And this basically also involves data protection, anti-money laundering, and consumer protection. So the fintech companies, they should make sure that all of this is provided, they abide by the laws and regulations and the policies and the procedures that is fixed, that jurisdiction that is fixed according to each and every country. So the fintech companies should also make sure about that. So this was about fintech principles. Now we'll be answering one of the most important questions, which is how safe is fintech? The basic question, this is a very important question, because when we look at fintech or investing our money in the financial technology, we think that our money is something which is accessible to everyone. So anyone, any hacker or anyone from outside could just come and hack the device and then steal all your money, steal all your information. So is it safe to actually use financial technology? Well, surprisingly, according to Forbes, 68% of the people are willing to use financial tools developed by non-traditional or non-financial or non-banking institutions. So this basically means that people are actually willing to use technology, are basically willing to use online banking and then wallet online apps rather than going to the banks. And in a way it is true, because why would you go all the way to the banks just to withdraw your money? It was much easier to do transactions online. So but however, many fintech applications are relatively new and they're currently not subject to the same safety regulations as banks. In banks, you can be assured that your money is safe and it's in safe hands, but in fintech, who can guarantee you that your money is in safe hands? In fact, it's not in anyone's hands. So no one can guarantee you on that. But this does not mean that that consumers should not trust fintech companies at all with their money. It just means that the people, they have to be careful and they have to have a proper analysis whether fintech can actually benefit them or not. For most consumers, it does benefit them, and the benefits of financial technology outweighs its perceived risks. And that is the reason why the data shows 68% of the people actually preferring for non-traditional institutions or for technology or for fintech companies. Moving on to the next topic. The next topic is fintech landscape. So in this, we'll be talking about various types of fintech and their examples as well. So North America is the North America is the continent which is where you would find the most fintech startups to occur. And after North America, it's Asia, which has the second rank, and this is followed by Europe. So some of the most active areas of fintech innovations are the ones which we'll be discussing now. So the first one is cryptocurrency. This is something which we all are aware of. The different types of cryptocurrencies. They include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Stellar, and there are many more actually. Next, digital tokens are also types of cryptocurrencies, and digital cash as well. So all of these different types of cryptocurrencies, they basically rely on blockchain technology. And these blockchain technology, they use the distributed ledger technology. And this technology basically means that they maintain records on networks of computers that has no central ledger. So blockchain is good because it involves smart contracts. You don't have any physical contract. It's a smart contract. So this smart contract, it just utilizes code to automatically execute contracts between parties, such as buyers and sellers. There is no physical contract. Next is the open banking. It is a concept that proposes that all people should have access to bank data, build applications that create a connected network of financial institution. So in this case, yes, there are third party providers, but in case of cryptocurrency, there's no involvement of government or any third party institution, because yes, because they use blockchain technology. That is the main reason. Next is InsurTech. InsurTech is insurance technology. It is abbreviated as InsurTech. So this basically is a technology that simplifies or streamlines in the insurance industry, in the entire industry. Whatever can be simplified or something that can be streamlined, all of this is done by the use of technology. Next, we have the RegTech. RegTech is regular technology. So this basically helps the financial services to meet the compliance rules of each and every country. And this is also basically done by covering the anti-money laundering and know your customer protocols, and also to fight fraud. Next is robo advisors. We have one such example as well, which is Betterment. And this is one of the most common areas where fintech is known and it is used as well. So, robo advisors are basically AI models or robots in a way, in which they automatically invest. That they automatically give you investment advices, and this is basically done because they are lower in cost, they're much more cheaper, and it also increases accessibility to all the people. Next is the unbanked or underbanked services. So this is basically to provide services to the disadvantaged or low income individuals who are often ignored or underserved by the traditional banks, because something that the traditional banks commonly do is that they prefer to help the large scale industries rather than helping the small scale industries. This is basically because the large scale industries are more likely to get more profits as compared to small scale industries. So in that case, small scale industries are disadvantaged. But however, fintech does not categorize people according to disadvantaged or low income individuals. They provide services to everyone equally. So there's no discrimination in that case. So this is also known as financial inclusion, which is basically including everyone in the financial technology industry. Next is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is also something which is very important when it comes to financial technology. So what exactly is cybersecurity? It is a practice of defending computers, servers, or electronic devices, electronic systems, networks, or in fact, even data from any malicious attacks, which could be done by any of the hackers or any outside person. So cybersecurity is the method of preventing any of these attacks or malicious attacks or malwares or viruses. AI chatbots, which have been popularized in 2022, are another example of fintech's rising presence in day-to-day usage. So chatbots are something which has become very common. We ask so many questions to chatbots, and something which is very common now is Chat GPT, which is in news lately. And it is also an example of an AI model, which is a chatbot, but not only centralized to fintech. It was just an example, but there are various other chatbots in which you can ask about any question, and they would give you answer related to financial your financial status, or give you any advice based on finance if you ask the questions related to that. So that is another benefit of AI chatbots. Next is types of fintech. So types of fintechs and fintech landscape, they're basically almost the same topic, but we just have a few additional types of fintech. We have talked about few of them, like robo advisors. We have talked about it already. They are online platforms or AI models that can automatically invest your money. And this is we use robo advisors. Why? Because they are little. They have very little costs. And they are accessible to everyone. The accessibility is huge. They have increased accessibility as compared to the normal one, and that's the reason why we use robo advisors. Next, we have investment apps. One such example is of Robinhood. This word, you must have heard this word in the first video that I had displayed in the starting as well. So, Robinhood is an example of investment app, and it makes it easy to buy and sell stocks through this app, or like perform any ETFs or cryptocurrency from your own mobile. And these apps, they often use very less commission or probably no commission at all. Next, we have the payment apps like PayPal, Venmo, Block, Zelle, Cash App, PhonePay, in fact, and Paytm. All of these are payment apps, which makes it easy to pay individuals or businesses online and just in an instant. Like how just by clicking a few buttons, you can perform the biggest transactions of all as well. So that is what payment apps are. Next is personal finance apps. So these include Mint, YNAB, or Quick Simplify, and and there are many kinds of personal finance apps. So these apps basically has a track of all the financial transactions that you have done, or they help you to set budgets, they help you to pay bills, and so on. So they're personalized according to each individual. Next is P2P lending platforms or peer to peer lending platforms. So these allow individuals and small business owners to receive loans from an array of individuals. So a few examples of P2P lending platforms include Prosper marketplaces, lending clubs, and etc. Such examples. Next is crypto apps. So crypto apps includes wallets or exchanges and payment application. All of these, they allow you to hold and transact in cryptocurrencies and digital tokens. And we have already discussed about the types of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin, and Stellar, etc., and digital tokens as well, like NFTs. Then we have InsurTech. This is also something we have already discussed, which is insurance technology that is used to simplify and streamline the insurance sector or insurance field. So it is basically an application of technology specifically to the insurance space, as we have already discussed. Next, we'll be talking about the advantages and disadvantages of financial technology. This actually poses the biggest question. We have to analyze that financial technology, if it is actually advantageous or if it is disadvantageous. We should know the positives and the negatives of financial technology. And that is the reason why we need to have a clear analysis. And that's the reason why I put this data here. So let's just have a look at the advantages of financial technology first. So the first point is speed and convenience. This is a very important point because just imagine going all the way to the bank, withdrawing your money, staying in that long line, and then finally, when your chance comes, you get to withdraw your money. And once you're done withdrawing your money, and that's when you pay the cash to the person you're supposed to pay. So how much time goes in that? Almost 3 to 4 hours. But like, just imagine how financial technology companies or how online banking has made it so easy that you can do any transactions in just 2 minutes. So that is that is its speed, that is how fast and convenient it is. So fintech has made it possible to perform financial transactions very quickly and very easily without the need of any physical infrastructure. You don't have to meet anyone. You can just do transactions through your own laptop or any mobile device that you would have. So you just have to click a few buttons and it's done. You could transfer money, you could pay bills, you could invest in stocks just through websites or mobile apps. Next is personalization. So fintech platforms, they use, as we discussed, they use artificial intelligence, they use machine learning in order to provide personalized financial services to the customers. So each customer would have a different personalized financial service according to its need. For example, they can recommend investment options based on the customer's financial goals and risk appetite. Next is the financial education. So, fintech companies, the biggest part about fintech companies is that they do not only provide these basic services, but they also provide educational resources and tools which can help the users to understand financial concepts and make informed decisions. These resources can be especially helpful for the people who are new in this entire fintech sector or financial industry. It can help them to make even more informed decisions as they will be educated about fintech field. Next is the lower fees. Fintech companies, they have very lower fees as compared to the traditional banking financial institutions, and they can save a lot of money in a long run. If we look at a long run, they can save a lot of money. For example, we have some online brokerages offer commission free trading, which can be significant cost saving for investors. Next, we have the point innovation. So, fintech companies, they provide services, of course, they provide products, of course, but they keep working on products and services in order to create new innovative ideas, which can be customer centric, which can help the customers to provide better services to them, and which keeps changing according to the needs of the consumers. So, if consumer needs a specific thing, the companies would work in order to provide a specific thing to the consumer as fast as possible. And this leads to creation of new markets and the expansion of the existing ones. So these were the advantages of financial technology. Now we'll be talking about the disadvantages, as we know that fintech will have disadvantages as well. So cybersecurity risk would be the first disadvantage, because since all your information is available to everyone now, and since it is in a technological platform, it is always vulnerable to any kind of cyber attack. So anyone, any hacker or anyone could steal all your money or steal all your data, customer data, sensitive customer data, and this could even lead to financial losses. And this could be a huge loss sometimes if someone has invested around like 1 million or 1 billion. Imagine if any hacker just steals all their information, their all money is just gone. So despite their efforts to protect user data, no system can entirely be immune to cyber threats. It's always going to be risky to invest in fintech companies. Next is regulatory challenges. Fintech companies must navigate a complex regulatory landscape that varies by jurisdiction, compliance, and regulations. And this can be time consuming, costly, and it can also limit the innovation and growth. So these companies, they need to adapt according to each and every country, according to the jurisdiction, according to the rules and regulations that those nations follow. And this could definitely limit the innovation and growth. Next is their dependence on technology. So fintech platforms are completely dependent on technology. They're completely dependent on internet to deliver any of their services, which can be a disadvantage if the technology fails. For example, just imagine that a person needs to immediately perform any transaction. So the only option would be online banking. But just imagine if there's no internet available to the customer, if the person has no internet, how will that person perform any transaction? In this case, we can clearly see how fintech platforms are completely dependent on technology. Another such example could be a server outage could prevent users from accessing their accounts or performing transactions. So the next point is lack of personal interaction. Fintech platforms, they are all online, and thus they do not involve any personal touch of traditional financial services. which can be a disadvantage for people who would prefer face-to-face interactions. There's no physical infrastructure taking place. It's just the laptop or the electronic device and you who is interacting. There's no face-to-face interaction taking place. So this can be especially important for complex financial decisions. If there's a very big decision that you need to decide on, then obviously people would prefer face-to-face physical interaction rather than going with online interactions. Next point is limited reach. So fintech platforms are limited only to some people of the population, only to some segments of the population. And this could be because not everyone is comfortable using technology, not everyone has access to technology, or not everyone can afford technology for that matter. Not everyone can have a mobile or a device in which they can perform online banking. So yes, it has limited reach. Even though we say that financial technology can increase the reach to the people, but yes, it is also limited. It also has limited reach. It might not reach the people who has low income or who is not comfortable using technology, who does not understand how they can use technology. So these were the disadvantages of financial technology. So now, since it is the time for us, for people of our age to understand the different job opportunities that are provided for any sector. So since in this webinar, we have been learning about financial technology. So I'll be briefing out on a few careers which are related to financial technology. If someone is actually interested in both financial industry and in technology, they can pursue these fields. So the first one is information security analyst. So basically, these people, the people who have the rank or who have the position of information security analyst, they plan out and execute security initiatives to protect customers, to protect computer systems and data from unauthorized access. And this, according to BLS, which is data collecting app, they basically have told that the job outlooks for information security analysts is expected to grow by 31% by 2029. And this is a huge amount. Just imagine 31%. So obviously you could become one of the information security analysts. And it is also said that their median pay in 2020 was an average of $103,590, which is again a huge amount. So yes, obviously you could become an information security analyst if you are interested in both financial sector and in the technological sector. Another field that we have here is the blockchain engineer. So a blockchain engineer is a person who designs or builds and maintains a decentralized blockchain application, such as cryptocurrency exchanges or lending applications or even voting platforms. And blockchain companies and applications, they're growing in a very rapid pace. So yes, you could obviously become a blockchain engineer. According to Career One Step, the median pay of a blockchain engineer was around $92,870 in 2020, and the number of jobs are expected to grow at 6% by 2029. But if you compare the growth rate of a blockchain engineer and an information security analyst, you see that as information security analyst, for them, the growth rate is 31%, and blockchain, the growth rate is 6% only. So when you compare, yes, of course, an information security analyst could be a go-to list for you people to actually take that as your career if you're actually interested in fintech. But yes, obviously, that's on your choice on what you like and what do you actually prefer when it comes to fintech. So that's all from my part. I have been trying to explain as much as I can when it comes to financial technology, and I hope it was informative, and I hope I was able to share all the information about financial technology. There's much more when it comes to the fintech field. However, we have time constraints as well. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me, Vidyadan. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope it was